Hey everyone, from NPR, it's been a minute. I'm Elise Hugh. All month, we've been bringing you special IBAM music episodes from the vault. In our last episode of this music series, former host Sam Sanders chats with Bruce Talamon about his photo book, Bruce W. Talamon, Soul, R&B, Funk, Photographs, 1972 to 1982. Sam and Bruce talked back in 2018. And without further ado, here's Sam.
Hey y'all, from NPR, I'm Sam Sanders. It's been a minute. So there's this picture that I'm obsessed with. It's got Maurice White of Earth, Wind & Fire. The photo's in black and white. Maurice is walking away from the camera. You see his back, and he has this white umbrella he's holding over his head. He is walking through sand. He's in a desert. And behind him are three big pyramids, almost larger than life. They are the pyramids in Egypt. It is beautiful. It's one of the most iconic music photos ever. A man named Bruce Talamon took that picture and a lot of other pictures. We are talking to Bruce today because if you can name a black musician from the 70s, chances are Bruce Talamon has photographed them. Michael Jackson dancing with his brothers on a soundstage. Patti LaBelle feet up on a chair after a long day of press interviews. Diana Ross literally crowd surfing in a concert. Bruce has a new book out with hundreds of his photos. It is called Bruce W. Talamon, Soul, R&B, Funk. Bruce and I talk about some of the stories behind those photos and those artists, how he got so much access to them, and what they're like up close. All right. Also, full disclosure, Bruce is married to NPR Code Switch correspondent and friend of this show, Karen Grigsby Bates. Okay, with that, let's get to it. Here's me and Bruce Talamon talking with a bunch of music at NPR West. Bruce, hi.
Hey, man.
How are you? We're dressed alike today. I like that.
Yeah, my wife just pointed that out. you know she would. Yeah.
So it's funny. I've been hauling your book around the last several days, going through all the photos and reading up on it. Mm-hmm. And I love this book, but it's heavy. Just to put it in scale for our listeners, this is probably 4 times the size of an average book.
Easily.
5 times as heavy.
Easily.
How many photos are in the book?
Just under 300.
Okay.
Are in the book, and it's 372 pages.
It has Stevie Wonder on the cover.
Yes, it does.
Looking Stevie Wonder-esque. So I want to talk about the backstory of all of this, but first I want to just go through some of the amazing stories these photos tell with specific artists. Mm-hmm. I want to first talk about these amazing photos you have of Aretha Franklin. This is a year in which everyone is talking about her. And I'm seeing in these photos a side of her you maybe didn't see all the time.
Right. Well, there's a couple of things. These were all taken in Los Angeles.
Okay.
The one that everybody really loves is the one which is at her house.
So describe this for
Los
listeners.
Angeles.
She is leaning over the side of
her grand piano, which was in the living room.
She's got her hair up.
Hey, man, sister just pulled her hair back. It was very casual.
And she's looking you right in the eyes.
And she's looking me right in the eyes.
How close were you to her? It seemed like you were right up in her face.
I was a couple of feet away.
Did she play for you?
Yes, she did. You know, when you do a portrait, you also want to have elements of the background or of the surroundings. And, I mean, think about it. Aretha Franklin, piano. And then she would share with us some things that she was working on.
Sometimes these tears refuse to hide. Worry. Are you leaving me? Please, baby, don't go.
You saw her perform, too?
Oh, yes. It was wonderful. I remember one photograph that didn't make the cut, and I had to decide if there needed to be blood on the floor, but with my editor. But
yeah,
her hands reaching out. There were. I have this shot. You've got her hand in the frame, and then you've got the hands of the crowd coming up.
Oh wow!
To
touch her
hand. To touch her. it was extremely joyful.
Yeah.
And I saw that over and over again. I mean, like with Patti LaBelle, with Etta James, with Shaka Khan, with Natalie Cole, with so many of these women. It was authentic, right? It wasn't something that was staged. Okay, and we're gonna have the shot of the no. I got that because I was watching, and just back then, these were film cameras, not digital cameras. So you didn't use one camera and then you could convert the color to black and white. You had on your left side, you had black and white cameras, like 3 of them. On your right side, you had your 3 color cameras.
You carried 6 cameras everywhere?
No, I carried probably 7 cameras. 2 on the neck, 3 on each side with
Bruce,
different lenses.
That's a lot.
Yes, my chiropractor will tell you that. I mean, but again, that was, you don't want to miss something. If you see it, you've missed it. Okay? You better come back with the shot. And if you don't, there will be somebody who will replace you tomorrow.
Yeah. I want to take you to LaBelle and these photos because you captured them not just in performance, but like on the road.
Yeah, I went on the road.
I'm looking at this amazing photo of the 3 members of LaBelle, which gave us Patti LaBelle, for folks that don't know. But the 3 of them are in the back
Sarah
of a car or
Dash,
cab and just passed out sleeping.
And Nona Hendrix. And
I mean, it's just a lovely shot that really
that's
just kind
the limo.
of captures how grueling this stuff is.
Oh, yeah.
How long were you with them on this trip?
I think I was with them a week. It was, total access. You had the sound checks. You had the rehearsals. Then you had the performance, and you had them getting ready. And, at the appropriate time, they let me in back in the back there. And Patty had her little glass of wine, and she was...
What kind of wine?
It was white wine. I don't know if it was Chardonnay or not. But the girls were glamming up, Daddy. I mean,
well, you have this photo of them looking in the mirror as they're getting their makeup together. Then they're wearing these elaborate costumes with feathers.
Lots of feathers. This was the Lady Marmalade tour.
Hey, sister, go, sister, soul, sister, go, sister. Hey, sister, go, sister, go, sister. He met mama.
That was a crowd pleaser. Folks would get up. Well, hell, folks stood up the whole concert. It was like church.
She said, hello, hey, Joe. You want to give it a go?
And it was loud.
And I found out reading this before that era of their career, the kind of glam rock look,
Right.
Lady Marmalade.
Right.
They were just like a straight ahead group of R&B singers.
Yeah.
Before that,
Yeah.
they changed it up.
Oh, there's no question.
Did you photograph them before they changed it up or after they changed
No,
it
I
up?
did not. No, I did not. I got the full spaceship. And
It's beautiful. Well, this picture of Patty right here that I'm looking at right now, she looks
Right.
like she's on stage in ecstasy.
Oh, there's no question.
All right, time for a break. When we come back, Bruce tells me about the time he caught Al Green coming off stage after a very exhausting concert, and he smacked his head on a door jamb. We'll tell you the story. BRB. Your entree into the world of
Absolutely.
taking photos of these black musicians came through
Absolutely.
Soul Magazine. A lot of folks will not have heard about that. What is Soul Magazine?
Soul newspaper was a small African-American arts and photography and music. Well, it started out as a magazine, but the economics forced it into taking a step back.
Okay.
I mean, we had the first issue, we had slick paper and
Yeah.
color, and then we were forced to see reality and go back to newsprint.
Okay. And y'all were doing specifically coverage of black artists.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it was the only African-American owned and operated black publication at the time that was doing black music. Regina Jones and her husband, Ken Jones,
Regina and Ken, they were the publishers of Soul, right?
here in Los Angeles, understood that black kids bought records and had a hunch that they would buy a newspaper filled with interviews and stories about the musicians creating that music. And it worked.
There's this photo you have that is just, it stopped me in my tracks. You're with Al Green for one of his shows, and you catch him as he is leaving the stage, I'm sure after like 4 or 5 encores, and he's about to collapse. Or
No,
he does
did collapse. He collapsed this was a situation where I got in front of him and was walking with them as they left the stage, and his security has him, and they're literally, he's off his feet. Okay,
They're like dragging him off the stage.
They're dragging him. I mean, no, he got off the stage.
Okay.
But as we get to the door of his dressing room,
After they've dragged him off stage.
after they've dragged him all, he's spent. He's done. So they get him back to the room, and he literally collapses at the door, smacks his head against the door jamb, and I've got maybe 1 second, 2 seconds to get this shot, and I just remember shifting. And this is no time to take your meter out and say, "Excuse me, can you hold that while I shoot?" So you know that, okay, you've got to drop the shutter speed quickly to like maybe 1/8 of a second.
Okay.
Firm up because your body is a tripod, and slowly fire that so there's no movement.
What song would he close out with?
Sometimes he would close with "Love and Happiness."
Something going wrong. Someone's on the phone. 3 o'clock in the morning. Hey, and talking that you can make it right. Well,
He was secure enough where he didn't have to, he could change it up, and his musicians knew.
They knew how to follow.
His musicians
Well, it was
knew.
very churchy in the way that like the church
Quite.
band will just follow the pastor.
Quite,
They will follow the pastor to
exactly.
any key, to any
Al
song.
was the pastor.
He
But-
ruled the stage.
Yeah, there's no question, and he had to have his security because those nice ladies would pull his into the crowd if he wasn't careful.
Yeah.
And because he would give out beads, he would give out necklaces, he would give out roses,
I remember, and there's a photo of that you have of him giving the roses out.
giving the roses
Yeah.
out, and the little and the
the
hands,
hands reaching up for
coming
it.
up like
It
little
is-
birds.
It is biblical. So, on top of capturing these artists in their brilliance, you did a really great job of capturing the fans
Yes.
in their near ecstasy over these artists. I mean, there's these photos you have of a pretty young Jackson 5 and these young girls swarming their cars.
Well, yeah.
What was that like?
And total pandemonium,
Now, when the Jackson 5 sing, we always line up 1, 2, 3, 4,
total
5.
chaos,
And you are going to try to take
You
over
know
the
what?
stage,
I'm coming
man.
up there with
Hold
you
on,
right
wait.
there.
total
The line is back there,
Beatles-esque.
fellas. This is my line. I'm finna get on my show now.
One of the things that I said to my editor was, I said, before Michael Jackson conquered the world, he belonged to little black girls in Gary, Indiana, and in Charlotte, North Carolina, and in Harlem. People tend to forget that. There's a certain, when you look at these kids, these were their heroes coming to play. And these little girls were dressed in their, like as if they were going to Sunday school.
Yeah. How did Michael deal with it at that age, from what you could see? You were there with him. Did
Yeah.
He,
He was a total professional. He was wound up like a top.
Let's have some fun. Let's have a good time, you and me. Sitting there with your mouth pulled out, you're sweet as you can be.
I mean, when we did that session in 1976 after they had just left Motown,
and he went to a new label, and you have that photo
and
of
they
them
went
looking
to that,
just so happy to
to
be
that,
free.
to that new label,
Yeah.
to Epic Records.
Yeah.
Enjoy yourself with me. Enjoy yourself, enjoy yourself, enjoy yourself with me.
There was no stopping him. He was like I said, like a top.
Was he dancing?
He was dancing. Look, you got to set the stage. You got to set the mood, right? So you have food. You
Okay.
have somebody
Yeah.
spinning the records, making sure that they're not twiddling their thumbs looking at you, right? You can be a fabulous photographer, but you've got to set the mood.
We can tear the house down, we can tear the house down, we can tear the whole house down. Woo! Enjoy yourself,
when he would start, his brothers would go into their routine.
Really?
And so you'd get a private performance right before your eyes. Then there's that question, do I dare open my mouth and say, fellas, you got to get closer together?
No.
No. Nobody cares 40 years ago that they're off of the background, that they're off of the seamless. If you're looking at the fact that they're, the white isn't behind them,
Yeah.
well, that's not going to work.
You want to get that action.
You've got to get the action.
All right, time for another break. In a minute, Bruce talks about his favorite artist, and it's a hard choice. We'll be right back. One of the things I loved about the photos you had of the Jackson 5 and the fans surrounding them, you gave great visual attention and care to these young black girls who are so often forgotten in so many ways.
Right.
And it felt like you were trying to say something with those photos of those fans and those young women.
Well, you got to understand something. I was on my way to go to law school when I bought my first camera.
After Whittier College?
After Whittier College.
Poli-sci major? if I recall?
Poli-sci, and sociology major.
Okay.
I bought a camera when I was on a foreign exchange in Berlin.
Mm-hmm.
But my training was sociology. My training was political science.
Mm-hmm.
This was a time when we were active, when folks, had a point of view. And I was caught up in that whole thing myself. Civil rights and human rights and political power and the, and to register to vote and all of that.
Yeah.
And to see how black folks had been marginalized in so many instances.
Mm-hmm.
So this was my background.
Mm-hmm.
So of course I'm going to take that and apply it
To your work.
to my work. This was not going to be just a book that was screaming into the microphone.
Yeah.
Even though this is the first photo book on soul and R&B and
Yeah.
funk, but so many people fetishize James Brown sweating and that's all you see.
Yeah.
And there's more.
Well, and this is what came through in the book as well. For these musicians, it was more than just music. They were activists, too. They were active in making music in an era where the fight for equality for black people was a very big thing. And there were just little things in here that I had totally forgotten. Like, you have a caption in the Stevie Wonder section where you talk about how his rendition of Happy Birthday, the Stevie Wonder version, was used to help lobby to make MLK Day a national holiday.
Right. Or
You have these photos of Muhammad Ali
Yes.
having, fundraisers and events to, raise awareness about Nelson Mandela.
Yeah, he was in conversation
Yeah.
with Gil Scott-Heron. And like I
Yeah.
said, they knew the power of their position. And they understood that it's more than wearing a red hat. And they had something to say, and they would say it. They understood the music. These boys were notorious flirts with the ladies.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't, the music could be used. They understood that the music could be used for so much more. They weren't worried about their Instagram accounts or their brand.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted to do what was right.
Mm-hmm.
And that night they were talking about trying to see how they could get together and do something
Mm-hmm.
to make people more aware
Yeah.
of Nelson Mandela's plight.
Yeah.
That to me speaks volumes.
Yeah. Who of these musicians did you like the best?
You asking somebody to pick, which of your children is your favorite?
And every parent secretly has an answer to that question.
Oh, I know. We were fortunate. We only have a limited edition, but my camera had a love affair with Shaka Khan.
Why?
Why?
Yeah.
Because she was so bad.
What's your favorite Shaka
and
song?
Tell me something good.
You ain't got no kind of feeling inside.
So love affair with your camera had a love affair with her. Tell me.
My
I wanna
camera
know.
was seduced. She was playful.
Tell me something good.
She knew who she was.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me that you love me, yeah.
She had this way that she carried herself, and when she walked into a room, and I loved the way that the interaction between she and the band. And I think the photographs show that. And they were having a lot of fun.
What I got to give will show enough do you good. Tell me something good.
It has been the highlight of my month to just go through these photos and read these stories. So I thank you for it.
Well, thank you.
Big thanks to photographer Bruce Talamon for that chat. He talked with our former host Sam Sanders back in 2018, and just the depth and breadth of all the moments that Bruce was able to capture is hard to believe. It's amazing. Just amazing art. Fabulous creator. Check out the book. This episode was originally produced by Anjali Sastry-Kurbacek and Jordana Hochman. Additional production and editing by Barton Girdwood and Kitty Isley. We're back in your feeds Friday. I'm Elise Hugh. Talk soon.